Welcome to the Deep Dive, coaches. If you're tuning in, you're likely an Australian track and field coach, really dedicated to getting your national level athletes performing at their absolute best. And the job doesn't stop at the track, especially when major events loom. We're talking nationals, Oceania regionals, maybe even bigger international comps. Often the travel itself, that's a huge hurdle. So, okay, let's unpack this. We've dug into some really great sources looking at nutrition practical tips, for athletes who are constantly on the move. Our mission today is to boil down the most vital, actionable stuff, specifically for you, the coaches out there, guiding our elite athletes who want them arriving ready to win, not just, worn out by the journey.
Absolutely. And what's really fascinating, I think, is how interconnected it all is. Travel isn't just, hopping on a plane from A to B. It's managing jet lag. It's keeping hygiene standards really high. It's ensuring they get the right nutrition in completely new surroundings. So we'll explore strategies to minimize that travel fatigue, get those body clocks back in sync, and keep performance high, even if the food's unfamiliar or there are, hygiene risks lurking.
Okay, let's dive straight into the big one then. Jet lag. It's probably the most common challenge for athletes crossing time zones, right?
Definitely.
And it's way more than just feeling a bit groggy. We're talking about circadian desynchronization, a real mismatch between the athlete's internal clock and the new day-night cycle.
Yeah, and it's directly affected by how many time zones they cross and, importantly, which direction they're traveling. Eastward travel often feels harder.
And the hit to performance? It can be pretty devastating. Fatigue, messed up sleep, less alertness, headaches, mood swings, even gut issues.
Exactly. And it all matters because athletic performance itself, think strength, jump height, speed, aerobic power, it has its own circadian rhythm.
Yeah. So if that rhythm's out of whack,
performance drops. Simple as that.
right. So resetting that clock quickly becomes the main game.
Precisely. And the number one tool, the most powerful cue we have for resetting that internal clock, it's light exposure. Think of it like the master switch.
Okay, light is key.
Okay.
What else? You mentioned nutrition interventions.
Yes. Melatonin, for instance, it's the hormone that basically kicks off sleep. For eastward travel, where athletes need to shift their clock earlier or phase advance, doses usually between 2 to 8 milligrams taken in the afternoon or evening seem to help improve sleep and lessen jet lag symptoms.
But there's a catch, right? Timing is crucial.
Oh, absolutely crucial. Take it too early in the morning and you could actually cause a phase delay. That pushes the clock the wrong way for eastward travel. You make things worse.
That's a really fine line. And hang on, for our coaches listening in Australia or NZ or the UK,
Yeah,
isn't melatonin prescription only here?
it is.
That sounds like a bit of a minefield, especially with all the dodgy supplements you hear about.
It absolutely is a minefield. While you can get prescription forms and some non-prescription stuff exists, the variability in commercial products, especially from places like the US where it's unregulated, is frankly alarming. Our sources showed melatonin content anywhere from just 18% of what the label said up to a crazy 478%.
Wow.
And batch-to-batch variation up to 465%. It's not just inconsistent, it's potentially dangerous. Some products even contain serotonin.
Which is a massive red flag for banned substances.
Exactly. Huge risk of an accidental positive test. So it's not just will it work, it's could this end their career.
Mm-hmm.
Coaches need to be incredibly careful about where supplements come from.
Okay, that really changes the perspective on melatonin. Very important warning. What about caffeine then? So many people use it to fight tiredness. Is it useful for jet lag or does it have downsides?
Well, caffeine works by blocking adenosine receptors in the brain. Adenosine is kind of the chemical that builds up and makes you feel sleepy. Caffeine basically says, nope, not yet.
Right, it keeps you wired.
It does help with that daytime fatigue from jet lag, definitely. Research suggests about 200 milligrams, maybe 3 hours before bed, can delay your melatonin rhythm by about 40 minutes, useful for managing sleep timing.
Oh.
And another study found 300 milligrams of slow-release caffeine at 8 a.m. destination time for 5 days helps speed up resynchronization.
I sense a butt coming.
But yeah, it's a tool, not a magic bullet. While it boosts alertness, it can also mess with sleep quality if you're not careful with the timing and dose. More sleep complaints are possible.
Makes sense. So we've got light, melatonin with big caveats, caffeine. What about food timing and what athletes actually eat? Does that influence the body clock too?
It's an area with less conclusive research compared to light or melatonin, but still relevant. See, while the main brain clock syncs to light, our other body clocks, like in the liver, seem to respond more to when we eat and fast.
Interesting. So meal timing could affect those peripheral clocks?
Potentially, yes. There's this concept called the argon diet. alternating high-protein days with fasting or low-carb days, then a big protein breakfast on arrival. One study on military folks found it helped, but honestly, human research is pretty limited there.
Okay, so maybe not a go-to strategy yet. What about the type of food?
Now that might be more directly useful, especially for tackling sleep issues caused by jet lag.
How so?
Well, think about tryptophan. It's an amino acid, a building block for melatonin. Eating carbohydrates can actually help tryptophan get into the brain more easily. It's like giving it a priority pass.
Right, I've heard something like that.
So meals rich in high glycemic index carbs, think rice, pasta, potatoes, eaten maybe 1 to 4 hours before bed, have been shown to help people fall asleep faster. That could be really useful against jet lag insomnia.
Okay, that's a practical tip.
And on the flip side, some research suggests very low-carb diets might increase deep, slow wave sleep, which is great for physical recovery.
So different approaches depending on the goal getting to sleep versus recovery quality.
Exactly. While we need more research for definitive answers, coaches can definitely see these food choices as extra levers to pull, part of the whole package for getting athletes adjusted and recovering well.
That's a lot just for jet lag. But travel fatigue isn't only about crossing time zones. Even domestic trips, say for nationals, can leave athletes exhausted. Just the disruption to sleep, training, eating.
Absolutely. That routine disruption is a major factor.
So this is where it gets really practical for coaches, right? What advice can you give athletes for the actual journey itself? What should they pack? What should they be doing on the bus or plane?
Practicality is key, you're right. First thing, pack smart snacks. Nutrition bars, fresh fruit if possible, dried fruit, nuts, things they know and tolerate well.
So they aren't reliant on service station food or whatever the airline offers.
Precisely. Avoid poor choices, supplement the meals provided, and keep them accessible, hand luggage, not buried somewhere. If it needs chilling, make sure it stays chilled. Definitely not in the hot luggage bay of a bus.
Good point. And what about just eating out of boredom on long trips?
Yes. The boredom eating, it's a real thing. With snacks right there, it's easy to munch away unnecessarily. Coaches should definitely remind athletes to be mindful of that.
I bet every coach listening has seen that happen. Is it purely psychological?
Often psychological boredom, yes, but disrupted meal timings can also trigger genuine hunger cues at weird times. So it's a mix.
Okay. What about motion sickness? Any food tips there?
For those prone to it, definitely avoid big meals, caffeine, and alcohol just before and during travel. Sometimes simple things like plain water and dry crackers can help settle the stomach.
And medication?
Seek medical advice first. Some anti-sickness meds cause drowsiness, which might not be ideal, and crucially, some could contain banned substances. Always check with the team doctor.
Right. Good safety check. Anything specific for flying? You mentioned the dry air.
Hydration is vital on planes. That cabin air really sucks the moisture out of you, so adequate fluids are essential.
But not too much fluid.
Exactly. Don't overdo it, especially on long hauls, or you'll be interrupting sleep for constant toilet breaks. Find that balance.
And caffeine and alcohol on planes.
Well, the diuretic effect of caffeine is often a bit overblown, especially for regular users. Suddenly stopping caffeine might cause headaches or just lead to drinking less overall. It's better to use caffeine strategically for managing sleep, not worry too much about hydration effects. Alcohol, though, definitely discourage it. Its effects are stronger at altitude.
Okay. And you mentioned something interesting about taste perception.
Oh yeah, it's a fun fact. Cabin pressure can apparently reduce your ability to taste salt and sweetness by up to 30%.
Really?
But weirdly, background noise, like the engine hum, might enhance umami flavors that savory taste and the perception of crunchiness. Just something interesting for athletes to know about why airline food might taste a bit different.
That's fascinating. Shows how many subtle things are going on. But let's move from taste to, well, less pleasant topics, perhaps. Gut health and hygiene. These can totally wreck a trip, can't they?
Absolutely critical. Bowel habit changes are super common during travel. Dehydration, sitting still for hours, different food. It all contributes. Constipation, for example, is frequent.
Which sounds uncomfortable and could mess with eating patterns.
It can. So for athletes who tend to get blocked up, recommend extra fluids and maybe some fiber-rich foods with natural laxative effects. Think prunes, kiwi fruit, chia seeds, especially during long travel days.
And what if things go wrong? What's the protocol?
This is really important. Athletes must report bowel issues like persistent constipation or diarrhea to the medical team straight away. No trying to self-medicate with laxatives from a local pharmacy.
Why not?
Big risk of banned substances again. always involve the medical staff.
Okay, that proactive internal check is vital, just as vital as the external hygiene stuff, which seems like a huge risk factor. Those stats are scary illness rates doubling or tripling on long trips.
They are alarming. Upper respiratory tract infections, colds, flu are common, and gastrointestinal bugs, stomach illnesses are notorious.
You mentioned real-world examples like norovirus outbreaks at major championships.
Yes, the 2017 World Athletics Champs, the 2018 Winter Olympics. These things happen and can devastate a team. Travelers' diarrhea is a major culprit.
Define that for us.
Generally, it's defined as having 3 or more unformed stools in a 24-hour period, often with other symptoms like nausea, cramps, maybe a fever.
Wait, what causes it usually?
Mostly microbes like E. coli, often picked up from contaminated food or water. It typically lasts a few days, but that first day can be severely incapacitating. Plus, it's often highly contagious.
Spreading through a team, nightmare scenario.
Complete nightmare for training and competition, so prevention is absolutely key.
Okay, give us the practical checklist for coaches. How do they minimize this risk?
Right. Number 1, hammer home personal hygiene. Frequent, proper hand washing with soap and water or using hand sanitizer. Keep hands away from the face. Clean water bottles religiously.
Basics, but crucial.
Absolutely. Number 2, do your homework. Research hygiene standards and specific risks at the destination before you go. Make a targeted plan.
Proactive planning, got it.
3, water safety. Only drink safe, potable water. If there's any doubt, stick to sealed, bottled water. And avoid ice unless you're certain it's made from safe water.
Ice is a common trap, isn't it?
Very common. 4, use local intel. If you have contacts on the ground, ask them for recommendations on safe places to eat.
Smart. What about checking venues yourself?
5, visual checks. Look at catering venues. Are they generally clean? Any red flags like overflowing bins, raw and cooked foods stored together?
Okay, and buffets, they seem risky.
6, buffet caution. If possible, ask for freshly prepared dishes rather than stuff that's been sitting out. Be mindful of how long food's been held and at what temperature. Watch out for shared utensils causing cross-contamination.
What about street food? Often tempting.
7, avoid street food. Generally, the hygiene practices are just too unknown, too risky for elite athletes.
Makes sense. Self-catering.
8, if you're self-catering, enforce strict food handling and storage rules within the team.
And finally, any specific foods to be extra wary of?
9, high-risk foods, especially in countries with different standards. Things like tap water that isn't certified safe, undercooked meats or seafood, raw eggs, unpasteurized dairy, pre-prepared salads or raw veg that might have been washed in unsafe water, unpeeled fruit, and any food that's been kept lukewarm for ages.
That's a comprehensive list. What about probiotics? Do they help?
The evidence suggests maybe a marginal protective effect against travelers' diarrhea and upper respiratory infections. But, and it's a big but, effects are very strain-specific. It's not a magic shield.
Okay. And reinforcing reporting illness.
Absolutely critical. Athletes must report diarrhea immediately to the medical team. It's vital for their care, for preventing spread within the team, and for figuring out the source if possible.
So it really comes down to team protocols, doesn't it?
Exactly. Developing, communicating, and enforcing clear team hygiene protocols. Things like mandatory hand sanitizer use, rules about sharing food, cleaning drink bottles properly, that's paramount. Equipping athletes with this knowledge drastically cuts the risk of illness derailing everything.
That level of detail on hygiene is definitely eye-opening, and it flows perfectly into the next challenge: food at the destination. Even traveling within Australia, you arrive somewhere new, and the food availability, the types of food, the quality, it all changes.
It inevitably does.
And that can really throw a wrench in an athlete's carefully crafted nutrition plan, right? Especially near competition or during intense training camps.
Hugely challenging. Nutritional support is often crucial at those times.
It feels like a complex dance, between the athlete trying to eat right, the team managers organizing things, and the caterers providing the food. How can everyone work together?
It really is a team effort. Let's look at it from the management and caterer side first. They face challenges like dealing with diverse cultural or religious needs, vastly different nutritional requirements, think shot putter versus marathon runner.
Big difference.
Huge. Plus, maybe wanting to showcase local food, handling allergies and intolerances safely, maintaining that high level of hygiene we just discussed, and balancing choices so athletes don't massively over or under eat.
So what are the solutions for the organizers?
Generally, buffet-style catering works best for athletes. It's quick, offers flexibility, choice, and it's usually cost-effective. The menu variety needs to match the group size and how long you're staying.
Makes sense.
And crucially, tailor the menus. Meet those specific nutritional needs, cultural preferences, incorporate special diets, vegetarian, gluten-free, whatever, into the main menu if it's a large group, or handle them individually for smaller teams.
What about portion control for, say, expensive treats?
Yeah, good point. Maybe control portions for things like desserts or prime cuts of meat. And critically, ensure there's food available between meals and around training times. If the dining hall has limited hours, provide portable snack options.
And information for the athletes.
Yes. Nutrition cards are fantastic, detailing energy, macronutrients, key micronutrients, allergens for each dish. Really helps athletes make informed choices.
Okay, that covers the management side. But let's flip it. We talked about the overwhelming Olympic Village dining hall. What are the big pitfalls for the athletes themselves when faced with endless buffets or unfamiliar food?
That kid in a candy store effect is real. The main pitfalls are, 1, just sheer overconsumption because it's all there and self-serve. 2, making poor choices because there's so many options. 3, maybe being hesitant to try unfamiliar foods and sticking to less ideal, safe options.
Yeah, I can see that.
4, lack of supervision, especially for younger athletes. 5, getting distracted by the social environment in a large dining hall. 6, anxiety about food maybe lining up, worrying if something will run out. 7, that boredom, eating again or eating for entertainment, especially during taper when training is less. And 8, just food monotony if the choices aren't varied enough over a longer stay.
So how do you coach athletes to navigate that successfully?
First and foremost, the athlete has to know their own nutrition goals and how to pick foods to meet them. That's foundational.
Education piece.
Absolutely. Then, buffet strategy. Tell them to walk around, survey all the options, and make a plan before they pick up a plate.
Look before you leap, basically.
Exactly. Encourage them to use those nutrition cards or ask the chefs or food managers for information, especially if they have allergies or specific needs.
Okay. What about portion sizes and variety?
Advise them to choose a small, well-planned selection initially. This stops piling the plate high and helps prevent overeating. It can also make the buffet seem more varied over time if they save different choices for future meals.
Smart. And focusing on themselves.
Yes, tell them. Focus on your plate, your needs, not what the person next to you is eating. And importantly, once they've finished eating, they should leave the dining area. Lingering just invites that boredom grazing.
Right, remove the temptation.
Yeah.
You mentioned that holiday mentality earlier, tapered training, unlimited food. That sounds like a specific danger zone, particularly for body composition.
It absolutely can be. There are plenty of stories of athletes gaining weight that hinders performance when that unlimited food access meets a relaxed mindset and less training.
So how do you combat that specific temptation?
This is where team management and coaches are indispensable. They help create an environment where the good choices are easy and obvious. Pre-trip planning with caterers is vital. Sometimes you might even need to freight or bring key foods from home.
Chicken quarantine rules, of course.
Always. But it's about empowering athletes with the knowledge and strategies to make smart choices themselves, even when faced with a mountain of tempting food.
This has been incredibly thorough. We've gone from jet lag deep dives to buffet strategies. It really underscores that success away from home isn't just about race day. It's about nailing the whole journey.
Meticulous preparation, absolutely.
So to wrap this all up for the coaches listening, could you give us a kind of rapid-fire ultimate pre-trip checklist, the key things they need to tick off?
Okay, the rapid-fire checklist. 1, destination due diligence. Know the specifics, vaccinations, bugs, heat, altitude, customs, hygiene, quarantine rules. 2, athlete needs assessment. Know every medical condition, allergy, and tolerance for all staff and athletes. Flag EpiPens. Inform caterers way ahead of time about special meal needs.
Okay.
3, travel itinerary nutrition plan. Map out meals, snacks, fluids for the actual journey. Factor in transport type, breaks, time zones, potential delays. 4, food culture and availability research. What are the local staples, nutrient sources, special diet availability, cooking styles? Language barriers maybe get translation lists, and crucially, risk of contaminants in local foods. Find nearby supermarkets, too.
Good backup. 5.
5, catering style ID and management. What's the accommodation like? Buffet or a la carte? Food at venues, meal times, access outside normal hours. Plan for supplemental foods. Share the whole plan with the team before you leave. 6, establish clear team protocols. Rules on hand hygiene, shared food, food in rooms, alcohol, cleaning equipment like water bottles. Everyone needs to be on the same page.
And finally,
7, on-arrival reconnaissance. Once you land, Do a quick visual check of the catering setup based on your pre-trip risk assessment. Update the team hygiene plan if anything looks off. Following this kind of comprehensive checklist from research right through to on-the-ground checks means you're not just reacting anymore. You're proactively building a solid, resilient travel strategy for your athletes.
Fantastic. Coaches, you should now have a really robust framework packed with specific, actionable strategies to help your athletes not just get through travel, but really perform at their best when competing away from home. This deep dive, I hope, gives you a valuable shortcut to getting on top of all these complex travel factors.
And maybe a final thought to leave you with. Considering how closely nutrition, sleep, and hygiene are linked during travel, what's the one single change you could make to your team's pre-travel routine that might have the biggest positive impact on their readiness and performance?